Tarr, the legendary Hungarian filmmaker and master of slow cinema, has died at 70. Known for haunting black-and-white epics like Satantango and Werckmeister Harmonies, Tarr reshaped cinema with long takes and meditative storytelling. His films explored time, despair, and everyday human dignity with uncompromising honesty. He once said he made the same film for 30 years, a film about humanity. Cinema has lost one of its most fearless voices. LaMalfa has died at the age of 65. LaMalfa represented a rural Northern California district and was serving his 7th term in Congress. A fourth-generation rice farmer, he was known for his work on water policy, forestry, and agriculture. President Donald Trump called him a reliable vote who never needed persuading. LaMalfa is survived by his wife, 4 children, and a grandchild. His sudden passing has shocked colleagues across Capitol Hill. Elsje de Wijn has died at the age of 82. Born in Amsterdam in 1944, she devoted her life to theater, film, and television. Known for her sharp comic talent, perfect timing, and expressive performances, she became widely loved in stage productions and TV series. She rose to fame with the musical Met Man en Meis and the hit song Karel, sung in a broad Amsterdam dialect. De Wijn passed away peacefully at her home in Amsterdam, surrounded by family. She leaves behind a lasting legacy in Dutch performing arts. Michael Reagan, the eldest son of former U.S. President Ronald Reagan, has died at the age of 80. A conservative commentator and radio host, he was a longtime contributor to Newsmax and host of The Michael Reagan Show. Adopted shortly after birth by Ronald Reagan and actress Jane Wyman, he dedicated much of his life to preserving his father's political legacy. Michael Reagan also authored several books and supported Alzheimer's research and charitable causes. He is remembered as a steadfast guardian of President Reagan's ideals. There are actors who command attention with movement, there are others who command it with emotion, and then there are the rare few who command it simply by speaking. Morgan Freeman belongs to that rare category. Born on June 1, 1937, in Memphis, Tennessee, Morgan Porterfield Freeman Jr. entered a world defined by segregation, limitation, and inequality. The America he was born into did not envision him as a future icon, narrator of history, or global symbol of wisdom. Yet even in his earliest years, there was something unmistakable, a presence that could not be ignored. Freeman was the youngest of 4 children. His mother, Mamie Edna Freeman, worked as a teacher, instilling in him discipline, clarity, and a deep respect for language. His father, Morgan Freeman Sr., was a barber whose life was marked by hardship and declining health. The family moved frequently, settling in towns across Mississippi, Indiana, and eventually Chicago, searching for stability in an unstable world. As a child, Freeman witnessed both the quiet dignity and the harsh realities of Black life in the American South. These experiences shaped his worldview, teaching him patience, restraint, and observation. He learned early that survival often meant listening more than speaking, watching more than reacting. Those instincts would later become tools of his craft. At 9 years old, Freeman stepped onto a school stage for the first time. He played the lead role in a school production, and something inside him clicked. Acting gave him a sense of control, purpose, and expression that nothing else had. It was not about applause, it was about connection. The ability to hold silence, to command attention without force. By age 12, Freeman had already won a statewide drama competition, confirming what teachers and classmates had begun to suspect. This was not a hobby. It was a calling. Yet talent did not shield him from hardship. As a teenager, Freeman contracted pneumonia, an illness that nearly derailed his early ambitions. Recovery forced him into reflection and reinforced the fragility of opportunity. Life, he learned, could pause or end without warning. Despite being offered a partial drama scholarship to Jackson State University, Freeman made a decision that surprised many. Instead of pursuing acting immediately, he chose discipline over dreams, enlisting in the United States Air Force at just 18 years old. He served as an automatic tracking radar repairman, rising to the rank of Airman First Class. It was here that Freeman learned structure, patience, and responsibility, qualities that would quietly define his later performances. When his service ended, Freeman stood at a crossroads. He could return to a predictable life or step into uncertainty. He chose uncertainty. With no guarantees and no shortcuts, he moved to Los Angeles, taking acting classes, studying theater, and surviving on small jobs. Fame did not arrive. Recognition did not follow. Years passed with little to show but persistence. While others chased stardom, Freeman chased mastery. He was not trying to become famous. He was trying to become good. This first chapter of Morgan Freeman's life was not about success. It was about foundation. The voice the world would one day recognize was being built through struggle, discipline, silence, and time. And the world had no idea what was coming next. By the early 1960s, Morgan Freeman had done everything except succeed. Fresh out of the U.S. Air Force and newly settled in Los Angeles, Freeman entered a world that promised opportunity, but delivered rejection. Hollywood was not waiting for him. There were no agents calling, no scripts tailored to his voice, no doors opening simply because of talent. Instead, there were casting rooms filled with hundreds of hopefuls, and roles that often reduced black actors to stereotypes Freeman refused to embody. To survive, he did what artists have always done. He adapted. Freeman studied acting at the Pasadena Playhouse and Los Angeles City College, where instructors noticed not just his voice, but his movement. One teacher even suggested he consider a career in dance. Taking the advice seriously, Freeman trained rigorously and found work as a dancer, including a role at the 1964 World's Fair. It was not his dream, but it kept him close to the stage. During this period, Freeman joined the Opera Ring musical theater group in San Francisco. Night after night, he performed for modest crowds, refining timing, breath control, and physical awareness. These years were not glamorous. They were repetitive, exhausting, and largely invisible, but they were essential. His first brush with film came in 1965, when he appeared as an extra in Sidney Lumet's The Pawnbroker. It was a blink-and-you-miss-it moment, but Freeman watched everything. How scenes were blocked, how actors conserved energy, how silence could be as powerful as dialogue. In 1967, Freeman made his off-Broadway debut in The Nigger Lovers, a politically charged production centered on the Freedom Riders during the Civil Rights Movement. The title was provocative, the subject matter raw. For Freeman, it was more than a role. It was a statement. Theater allowed him to confront truth directly, without filters. The following year, he made his Broadway debut in an all-black production of Hello, Dolly, starring Pearl Bailey and Cab Calloway. Sharing the stage with legends validated his perseverance. He was still unknown, but he was no longer invisible. Yet despite these accomplishments, financial stability remained elusive. Freeman bounced between theater roles, small film appearances, and teaching himself patience. By the late 1960s, he had talent, experience, and discipline, but no platform. That platform arrived in 1971 in an unexpected form. Freeman was cast in the PBS children's television series The Electric Company. The show was educational, energetic, and wildly popular with young audiences. Freeman became recognizable, not as a dramatic actor, but as a friendly, familiar face in American living rooms. For the first time, he had financial security. But success came at a cost. The schedule was grueling. The creative limitations frustrated him. Freeman later admitted that this period was emotionally draining, a time when he felt trapped between gratitude and dissatisfaction. He wanted depth, complexity, roles that stretched him. Instead, he was repeating catchphrases and skits. After 4 years, he walked away. It was a risky decision. He gave up steady income without knowing what would replace it. But Freeman understood something many don't. Comfort can be the enemy of growth. The late 1970s marked a turning point. In 1978, Freeman returned to theater with renewed intensity, starring in The Mighty Gents. His performance as a down-and-out alcoholic was raw, layered, and unflinching. Critics took notice. Awards followed. Suddenly, Freeman was no longer that guy from PBS. He was a serious actor. He went on to dominate the stage, earning Obie Awards for Shakespearean roles in Coriolanus and Julius Caesar. His voice, once underestimated, became his weapon: calm, deliberate, commanding. By the early 1980s, Morgan Freeman had something he had never truly had before: respect. Hollywood just didn't realize it yet. By the mid-1980s, Morgan Freeman was no longer struggling to prove he could act. The problem now was something different. Hollywood still didn't know what to do with him. He was respected in theater circles, He had awards, he had discipline. But film studios continued to cast him in small, safe roles. Authority figures, background characters, men who existed to support the story rather than drive it. Freeman understood the pattern. He also understood that one role, just one, could shatter it. That role arrived in 1987. Freeman was cast as Fast Black in Street Smart, a gritty crime drama starring Christopher Reeve. The character was dangerous, manipulative, and deeply unsettling, a sharp departure from the calm, paternal figures Freeman had been known for. Many actors would have hesitated. Freeman leaned in. His performance was electric. Fast Black was charming one moment, terrifying the next. Freeman infused the character with intelligence and unpredictability, refusing to play him as a simple villain. Critics were stunned, audiences were unsettled, and captivated. Legendary critic Roger Ebert praised Freeman's work, calling the character unforgettable. For the first time in his career, Freeman was no longer being talked about as a solid supporting actor. He was being discussed as a force. The industry responded. Freeman earned his first Academy Award nomination, and with it came something far more valuable: leverage. Casting directors suddenly saw him differently. He wasn't limited, he wasn't predictable, he was dangerous in the best way. The late 1980s became a flood. In 1989, Freeman delivered one of his most beloved performances as Hoke Colburn in Driving Miss Daisy. The role couldn't have been more different from Street Smart. Gentle, patient, warm. Freeman's quiet dignity carried the film, earning him another Oscar nomination and introducing him to an entirely new audience. That same year, he appeared in Glory and Lean on Me, portraying characters rooted in moral authority and resilience. These weren't stereotypes, they were layered men navigating complex systems of power, education, and justice. Freeman became the emotional anchor of every scene he entered. By the early 1990s, Morgan Freeman had done what once seemed impossible. He had become indispensable. Films like Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, 1991, and Clint Eastwood's Unforgiven, 1992, solidified his place among Hollywood's elite. Directors trusted him. Co-stars relied on him. Audiences believed him. Then came 1994, The Shawshank Redemption. Freeman's portrayal of Red was understated perfection. His narration, reflective, weary, hopeful, became inseparable from the film's soul. Though the movie initially underperformed at the box office, time transformed it into a classic, consistently ranked among the greatest films ever made. Freeman earned another Academy Award nomination, but more importantly, his voice became iconic. It carried wisdom without arrogance, authority without cruelty, hope without naivete. Hollywood had found something rare. Not just a star, a presence. By the end of the decade, Morgan Freeman was no longer chasing opportunity. Opportunity was chasing him. By the early 2000s, Morgan Freeman had already achieved what most actors only dream of: respect, longevity, and relevance. Yet one defining milestone still remained. Not for validation, but for recognition of decades of mastery. That moment arrived in 2004. Freeman starred alongside Clint Eastwood and Hilary Swank in $1 Million Baby, playing Eddie "Scrap Iron" Dupree, a former boxer turned trainer whose body bore the scars of his past and whose soul carried deep regret. The role was quiet, heavy, and emotionally devastating. Freeman did not perform the character. He inhabited him. His narration framed the story like a confession. His presence grounded the pain. And when the film reached its tragic conclusion, Freeman's restraint made the devastation hit even harder. At the 77th Academy Awards, Morgan Freeman finally won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor. It was not a victory speech. It was a moment of history. The applause in the room felt less like celebration and more like acknowledgement. Hollywood wasn't rewarding a single performance. It was honoring a lifetime. But Freeman was not slowing down. If anything, the Oscar only expanded his reach. He became the cinematic embodiment of wisdom. Presidents, Deep Impact, Olympus Has Fallen, mentors, Batman Begins, The Dark Knight trilogy, judges, narrators of truth, and voices of reason in chaotic worlds. His portrayal of Lucius Fox in Christopher Nolan's Batman films introduced him to a new generation, proving that age had only sharpened his authority. And then there was the voice. Morgan Freeman's narration transcended cinema. He became the sound of discovery, of wonder, of meaning. From March of the Penguins to Through the Wormhole, from the story of God to our universe, his voice guided millions through science, faith, nature, and existence itself. It wasn't just soothing, it was trusted. Studios didn't hire Freeman to speak words, they hired him to legitimize truth. In 1996, Freeman co-founded Revelations Entertainment, ensuring he had control over the stories he told, particularly those involving morality, justice, and human resilience. Projects like Madam Secretary reflected his commitment to thoughtful storytelling over spectacle. Honors followed: the Kennedy Center Honors, AFI Life Achievement Award, Cecil B. DeMille Award, and the Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement Award. Each one confirmed what audiences already knew. Morgan Freeman wasn't just an actor, he was an institution. And yet, beneath the legendary status remained the same man who once danced at the World's Fair, who once struggled for rent, who once waited years for the industry to notice him. His success wasn't overnight. It was earned, slowly, deliberately, relentlessly. By the time Morgan Freeman entered his later years, the world no longer viewed him simply as an actor. He had become something rarer, a cultural constant, someone audiences trusted, listened to, and felt anchored by. But behind the iconic voice and dignified presence was a man shaped by patience, hardship, curiosity, and an unwavering belief in growth. Freeman has often spoken openly about time, not as an enemy, but as a teacher. Unlike many stars who rose quickly and faded just as fast, his journey unfolded slowly. Fame didn't arrive until his 50s, and that reality profoundly shaped his outlook. He has said repeatedly that success has no expiration date, and that discipline matters more than timing. His life stands as living proof that greatness does not rush. Despite portraying authority figures on screen, Freeman has always rejected the idea of superiority. He dislikes labels, avoids political grandstanding, and believes dialogue matters more than division. When asked about race, identity, or injustice, his answers are thoughtful rather than reactionary, rooted in history, lived experience, and empathy rather than slogans. Freeman's curiosity has defined him as much as his performances. His fascination with the universe, God, science, and human consciousness fueled projects like Through the Wormhole and The Story of God. These were not vanity projects, they were explorations. Freeman wasn't telling audiences what to believe, he was inviting them to ask questions. Off-screen, he has lived quietly compared to many Hollywood icons. He owns a ranch in Mississippi where he has invested heavily in environmental conservation, including transforming his land into a sanctuary for honeybees. He has funded education initiatives, supported arts programs, and quietly contributed to disaster relief, rarely seeking publicity. His personal life, like anyone's, has known pain. Loss, divorce, controversy, and tragedy have touched him. Yet he has never allowed those moments to define his public presence. Instead, Freeman carries himself with calm acceptance, often saying that bitterness wastes energy better spent understanding the world. As he entered his 80s, Freeman showed no interest in retreating. He continued acting, narrating, producing, and choosing projects with intention rather than volume. His presence in films became symbolic. When Morgan Freeman appeared, audiences knew the story carried weight. By the 2020s, polls and critics alike placed him among the greatest actors of all time, not because of any single role, but because of consistency, integrity, and depth. Few performers have crossed generations so effortlessly, remaining relevant to children, adults, and elders alike. Morgan Freeman's true legacy is not awards, box office numbers, or iconic scenes. It is trust. When he speaks, people listen. When he appears, people feel grounded. When he tells a story, people believe it matters. In a world of noise, Morgan Freeman became a voice of calm, a reminder that wisdom still has a place in modern culture. And long after the final credits roll, long after the screens go dark, his voice, and the values behind it, will endure. Morgan Freeman's greatness cannot be explained by awards alone. It lives in the characters he brought to life, roles that didn't just entertain, but stayed with audiences long after the screen went dark. Each performance added another layer to his legacy, revealing a rare ability to project wisdom, pain, strength, and humanity with effortless authenticity. One of Freeman's most enduring performances came in The Shawshank Redemption, 1994. As Ellis Red Redding, Freeman delivered a portrayal that has since become iconic. Red was not flashy or dramatic. He was quiet, reflective, and deeply human. Freeman's narration guided viewers through hope, despair, and redemption, giving the film its emotional spine. Though the movie initially underperformed at the box office, it later became one of the most beloved films of all time, largely because of Freeman's calm, soulful presence. In Driving Miss Daisy, 1989, Freeman played Hoke Colburn, a soft-spoken chauffeur whose dignity and patience slowly dismantled prejudice and isolation. His performance was gentle but powerful, earning him widespread acclaim and another Academy Award nomination. Freeman showed that strength does not always raise its voice. Sometimes it simply endures. Then came S7, 1995, where Freeman portrayed Detective Somerset, a weary investigator nearing retirement in a world that feels morally broken. The role showcased his ability to convey exhaustion, intelligence, and quiet despair. Opposite Brad Pitt's raw intensity, Freeman anchored the film with gravity and restraint, making the horror feel disturbingly real. Freeman's collaboration with Clint Eastwood produced some of his most respected work. In Unforgiven, 1992, he played Ned Logan, a former outlaw haunted by his past. The role stripped away romanticism and exposed the cost of violence, further establishing Freeman as an actor unafraid of moral complexity. In Million Dollar Baby, 2004, Freeman's Oscar-winning performance as Eddie Scrap Iron Dupree elevated the film beyond sports drama into tragedy. His narration framed the story with sorrow and inevitability, turning silence into emotion. The performance remains one of the finest examples of how Freeman communicates depth without excess. To younger audiences, Freeman became synonymous with wisdom through his role as Lucius Fox in the Dark Knight trilogy, 2005-2012. As Bruce Wayne's mentor and moral compass, Freeman brought credibility and warmth to a world of chaos. His presence grounded the fantasy, reminding viewers that intelligence and ethics matter as much as power. Freeman also carried profound emotional weight in films like Invictus, 2009, where he portrayed Nelson Mandela. Rather than mimicry, Freeman focused on Mandela's spirit, calm, forgiving, and resolute. The performance earned him another Oscar nomination and global respect. Across genres, drama, action, fantasy, science fiction, Freeman remained unmistakably himself. Whether playing presidents, prisoners, detectives, or narrators of existence, he brought the same sincerity and depth. What ties these roles together is not repetition, but trust. Audiences trusted Morgan Freeman to tell stories that mattered, to handle heavy themes with care, to bring humanity to even the simplest moments. His roles did not shout for attention, they commanded it quietly, and that is why they endure. Morgan Freeman's voice is not just recognizable, it is cultural. It has become synonymous with truth, calm, authority, and reflection. Few voices in human history have carried the same emotional weight, and even fewer have crossed generations the way Freeman's has. What makes his voice extraordinary is not volume or force, it is control. Freeman speaks with measured pacing, natural warmth, and an almost musical cadence. Every pause feels intentional, every sentence feels earned. His voice does not rush the listener, it invites them to slow down. This unique quality transformed Freeman into the most sought-after narrator of modern cinema. When he narrates, the story feels bigger than entertainment. It feels like history, philosophy, or fate speaking directly to the audience. His narration work spans some of the most iconic documentaries and series ever produced. March of the Penguins, 2005, where his calm narration turned a nature documentary into an emotional journey about survival, family, and endurance. The Story of God with Morgan Freeman, 2016-2019, where he explored humanity's deepest questions about faith, purpose, and existence. Through the Wormhole, 2010-2017, blending science with wonder, guiding viewers through the mysteries of the universe. Our Universe, 2022, and Life on Our Planet, 2023, where his voice gave cosmic scale and emotional grounding to Earth's story. In these projects, Freeman did not just read scripts, he interpreted meaning. He made complex ideas accessible without diluting their depth. So powerful is his voice that it has become part of pop culture mythology. Jokes about Morgan Freeman narrating life exist because people instinctively associate his voice with truth and reassurance. When things feel chaotic, his voice sounds like order. Even filmmakers acknowledge this phenomenon. Directors often say that once Freeman is attached to a project, the audience immediately trusts it. His voice lends credibility before a single image appears. Interestingly, Freeman himself has said he never trained his voice to sound iconic. It is simply an extension of how he thinks, reflective, deliberate, and grounded. That authenticity is why the voice never feels artificial. Behind the iconic voice and commanding screen presence, Morgan Freeman's personal life is a story of resilience, complexity, and quiet determination. While millions know him as the calm, wise figure on screen, Freeman's off-screen life has been marked by trials, reflection, and personal growth. Family and early struggles. Morgan Freeman was born on June 1, 1937, in Memphis, Tennessee, to Mamie Edna and Morgan Porterfield Freeman. His father, a barber, passed away when Morgan was just 24, leaving a deep emotional void. Growing up, he frequently moved between towns, including Greenwood, Mississippi, Gary, Indiana, and Chicago, chasing stability while discovering his identity. Freeman has spoken openly about the challenges of growing up as an African American in the segregated South, where opportunities were limited and societal pressures were immense. His great-great-grandparents were enslaved, and his lineage is a complex tapestry of African roots from Senegal, Liberia, and the Congo-Angola region. Understanding this heritage gave Freeman a profound appreciation for resilience and the human spirit, values that would permeate both his career and personal outlook. Romantic life. Morgan Freeman's romantic life has been public yet private. He married Jeanette Adair Bradshaw in 1967, but the marriage ended in divorce in 1979. Later, he married Myrna Colley Lee in 1984. They separated amicably in 2010. Freeman has 6 children, each of whom he has worked to protect from the harsh glare of fame. Despite occasional media scrutiny, he has managed to maintain a degree of privacy for his family, emphasizing the importance of stability and love over public appearances. Health challenges. Freeman has faced serious health challenges over the years. In 2008, he survived a severe car accident that resulted in multiple injuries, including a broken arm and facial trauma. While physically taxing, these experiences reinforced his belief in patience, resilience, and the value of life. Freeman has often credited his calm demeanor and focused work ethic to these trials, saying that life's unpredictability taught him how to move deliberately and cherish each moment. Philosophy and personal interests. Beyond acting, Freeman is known for his reflective and philosophical approach to life. He has a deep love of aviation and became a licensed pilot later in life, flying small planes for personal enjoyment. This passion highlights his belief in exploration, freedom, and continuous learning, qualities that mirror his professional versatility. Freeman is also a storyteller in every aspect of life, not just on camera. Friends and colleagues often recount how his insights, delivered in his signature calm voice, have helped them navigate personal and professional challenges. He embodies the idea that wisdom is earned, not inherited, and that life's lessons are best shared generously. Resilience and legacy. What stands out most about Freeman's personal life is how he has navigated the pressures of fame without losing his sense of self. He has experienced poverty, discrimination, loss, and physical danger. Yet he has maintained dignity, focus, and an unwavering commitment to his craft. Freeman's life is a testament to the power of patience, integrity, and perseverance. He has repeatedly shown that success is not just measured by awards or recognition, but by the impact one has on others, whether through mentorship, storytelling, or acts of generosity. Morgan Freeman is more than an actor, a narrator, or a Hollywood icon. He is a cultural touchstone, a symbol of wisdom, and a living legend whose influence transcends film. After decades in the industry, his legacy is defined not just by the roles he has played, but by the authenticity, dignity, and humanity he brings to every project. A career that redefined cinema, from early roles in Street Smart to transformative performances in Driving Miss Daisy, The Shawshank Redemption, $1 Million Baby, and Invictus, Freeman consistently brought depth, gravitas, and a unique presence to his characters. He has shown an unparalleled ability to balance strength and vulnerability, making audiences not just watch his performances, but feel them. His narration work in films, documentaries, and television has arguably created one of the most recognizable voices in modern history. Whether explaining the mysteries of the universe and through the wormhole, highlighting historical struggles in The Long Way Home, or bringing nature's beauty to life in March of the Penguins, Freeman's voice has become a vessel for knowledge, empathy, and curiosity. Generations have been inspired to think critically, dream expansively, and approach life with compassion because of him. Impact beyond the screen. Freeman's influence is not confined to cinema. He has mentored young actors, supported emerging filmmakers, and even co-founded Revelations Entertainment to produce socially conscious content. His work behind the camera underscores his commitment to storytelling that matters, bridging the gap between entertainment and cultural impact. Additionally, Freeman's personal journey, overcoming poverty, racism, health challenges, and the unpredictability of life, provides a blueprint of perseverance for anyone striving to succeed against the odds. His humility, even amid superstardom, has made him a role model not just for aspiring actors, but for anyone seeking to navigate life with integrity and purpose, recognition and reverence. The awards and honors Freeman has received, an Academy Award, Golden Globe, Screen Actors Guild Life Achievement, Cecil B. DeMille Award, Kennedy Center Honor, and numerous others, tell only part of the story. They acknowledge his skill, but the lasting respect and affection of colleagues, audiences, and critics alike speak to a far greater achievement: the human connection he creates through art. Empires may rise and fall, films may come and go, but Morgan Freeman's voice, presence, and essence have left an indelible mark that will resonate across generations. His performances have the rare power to educate, entertain, and uplift simultaneously, a true marker of cultural immortality, a legacy of wisdom and humanity. Ultimately, Morgan Freeman's story is about more than fame or awards. It's about resilience, integrity, curiosity, and generosity of spirit. He has shown that true greatness lies in the ability to elevate others, tell stories that matter, and live authentically. He is a man who turns wisdom into art, life into narrative, and every role into a lesson. Whether you first saw him in a 1970s PBS classroom, a 1980s off-Broadway stage, or in a blockbuster film, Freeman has always reminded us that storytelling can shape hearts, minds, and society itself.